because the alarm journal does not automatically update, it's important to set a binding on the start and end date properties of the component. In addition to helping you update the component, it also helps to filter down the number of events you're seeing by date and time. The easiest way to do this is using Ignition's built-in calendar components, specifically the date range. I'm going to go ahead and drag one on the screen, and I'm going to make it a little bit bigger so it's easier to see. If we click back to our journal component, we can then go to the binding icon for the start date property of the component, and go to the property binding and bind it to the date range start date. We can then do the same thing for the end date property of the alarm journal component, except this time binding it to the date range's end date property. When I finish setting up the binding, you may have noticed the alarm journal component update. This is because by setting up the binding, I changed the date of those start and end date properties, thereby forcing the alarm journal component to update itself. Right now, because my date range is so large, I'm pulling in a large number of alarm events. However, if I were to put the designer into preview mode, I can then zoom in on my date range component and trim down the amount of time that I'm looking at. By doing this, we're going to severely limit the number of events coming in and able to more clearly see what's going on in our alarm journal. As you can see, I'm now looking at a significantly lower number of events. Tools like the date range component give you finer control over the events that are pulled back from the alarm journal tables in the database. This allows you to get a much clearer picture of your complete alarm history. However, it's important to note that using the calendar components aren't the only way to set date times on the alarm journal component. You can set up tag bindings to date time tags that receive their value from somewhere else, or you can even use an expression binding, using the expression language built-in date time functions to set a date and time for those properties.